upon at least 3 sound fundamental principles. There must be an economic foundation to everything we do in terms of Pan-Africanism. We have to find a formula for unifying the richest continent in the world with the richest people in the diaspora, Africans by the hundreds of millions in South America, in the Caribbean, and in America, who have wealth, who have power, who have training, but who have to bring that forth to work for Mother Africa, laying the foundation for a world Pan-African Union.
Ghana saw the light years ago, during the days of President Nkrumah. Even today, we are still reaching out to our African brothers and sisters in the diaspora to come back home with their knowledge and resources to help develop the continent. In all his trips to cities of the world where Africans have been dispersed, President Rawlings has stated in unambiguous terms Ghana's stand on repatriation.
No African country has a moral right or should consider it ethical to shut the door to any black African in the diaspora.
But there's one truth that has to be told if repatriation is to be of benefit to the continent.
I am saying that without the skills and whatever little investment you can bring in, you will only be compounding the poverty of that continent. And this is why I think it's important that you equip yourself with the necessary skill, the necessary technology.
President Rawlings' meeting with a cross-section of African Americans was a great experience.
President of Ghana, who I heard, nobody has to tell me he said it. I don't have to think it was a rumor. I've heard him say, African Americans, come home. He has made it clear.
Ghana continues to reach out to and embrace Africans in the diaspora. We urge them not to forget their roots. Though our history might be a sad one, we should never forget the past. So on this occasion of Emancipation Day, we remember the brutalities, torture, inhumanity, and pain that our ancestors went through on the long and arduous journey to the so-called New World. Such reminders, no doubt, will reawaken our consciousness and make us rededicate ourselves never to accept slavery in any form or guise and sustain our struggle for total freedom and independence. Some people have asked, why bring the remains of people who died over 100 years ago for reinterment? For many Africans, especially those in the diaspora, this is a reverential homecoming. A homecoming which is both symbolic and tangible. An event which will create a realistic bridge for brothers and sisters in the diaspora to reconnect with the homeland. Ghana mourns her two ancestors. We mourn all who were torn away from their loved ones, all who were taken away against their wish into slavery. "400 years of shackles, 400 years of the slave master's whip, 400 years of toiling in the plantations and building the cities and industries of the slave masters. Today, the descendants of the enslaved demand recognition.
Reparations needs to be sung. The gong gong needs to be beaten all around the world. For those of us who are African descendants, we are owed a price for the mothers who had to stay in those slave dungeons 3 months, who had to go into the chambers with the governors, who had to sleep with them, who had to be on the plantations and be raped to create another race or a heightened race of people. We are owed our due. We never received our 40 acres and a mule. They haven't even apologized.
Kromantse Abanze are twin fishing villages, important historical trading centers to which the late Louis Armstrong, the great jazz player, traced his ancestry. Fort Amsterdam, also known as Fort Abanze, overlooks Kromantse and Abanze. This was one of the trading stations of the Dutch and the English. The people of Kromantse Abanze are mourning. They mourn, yet they are in high spirits. They await the arrival of the remains of their two ancestors. The Asafo warriors carry aloft the remains of two of their own. What else are they but warriors? Even in a strange land, the irrepressible, defiant, and resistant spirit of the Asafo warriors was manifest in the uprising and struggles of the enslaved for freedom. The symbolic return to the castle is about to begin aboard dugout canoes. Today the ancestors will return to the Cape Coast Castle, that dreadful dungeon of anguish and pain, of darkness and lost hope. Today those dreadful doors of no return will be opened wide to a royal welcome for Crystal and John Carson.
I am a warrior, and I'm not supposed to cry. But I'm so moved that every once in a while I got to walk up to my side because I never thought it would become like this. I'm so proud of being an African and being here that I can't even describe it. I am really, really overwhelmed.
Cape Coast, traditionally known as Ogwa, was one of the earliest towns along the coast to receive European adventurers and traders. Before 1877, it served as the capital of the then Gold Coast, but then lost its position to Accra. Today, as the capital of the central region, Cape Coast still abounds in buildings and structures left over by the colonial legacy. The most famous of these is the Cape Coast Castle. The Cape Coast Castle started as a lodge put up by the Portuguese about 200 yards from the coast. It was meant to facilitate the Portuguese trading activities with the people along the coast. As trading activities increased, it was expanded. The castle has been described as a concentration camp where captured Africans were kept, awaiting the arrival of the death ships for the journey to the unknown. The castle offers concrete testimony to the drama of human history and stands as witness to the slave trade.